Marcus Chin wiped the sweat from his forehead as the desert sun beat down mercilessly. He had been walking through the Mojave Desert for 3 hours, checking his geological equipment and making notes about the mineral deposits in the area. It was supposed to be a routine survey, nothing special. Just another day of solitary work in the vast emptiness of sand and rock. His handheld scanner suddenly beeped with an unusual reading. Marcus stopped and looked at the screen, confused. The device was detecting a massive metallic signature buried beneath the sand, about half a mile ahead in a narrow canyon. That was strange. There were no mines in this area, no military installations, nothing that should create such a strong reading. Curiosity got the better of him. Marcus changed direction and headed toward the canyon, his boots crunching on the hot sand. As he walked, the readings grew stronger. Whatever was buried there was huge and unlike anything in his database. When he reached the canyon, Marcus climbed down carefully, using the rocky outcrops as handholds. At the bottom, he saw something that made him freeze in place. Partially buried in the sand was a massive object, easily the size of a large house. Its surface was smooth and dark, with strange curves and patterns that seemed to flow like frozen water. Parts of it looked almost organic, while other sections had a crystalline quality that caught the sunlight in odd ways. This was no human-made object. Marcus's heart began to race. He approached slowly, speaking into his voice recorder out of habit. June 15th, 3:20 p.m. I discovered what appears to be an unknown metallic structure. The design is completely unlike any aircraft or vehicle I've ever seen. The surface material is unidentifiable. The moment his voice echoed through the canyon, something incredible happened. The surface of the object began to glow with a soft blue light. Marcus stumbled backward, nearly falling. Panels on the ship's surface shifted and moved, revealing intricate symbols that seemed to rearrange themselves as he watched. "What the—" Marcus whispered. The glow intensified, and suddenly a beam of light shot upward from the ship, forming a shimmering holographic display in the air. Symbols appeared and disappeared rapidly, cycling through what looked like different alphabets and writing systems. The ship was responding to him, to his voice. Marcus stood there, mouth open, barely able to process what he was seeing. This was a spaceship, an alien spaceship, and it had just woken up because he spoke. The holographic display began to stabilize. The symbols slowed their cycling and started to form patterns that looked almost like English letters. The ship was learning. It was listening to him and trying to communicate. After several minutes, words began to form in the holographic display. They were broken and incomplete at first, but gradually became clearer. Voice, recognize, compatible, patterns. Marcus found his voice, though it shook. Can you understand me? Learning your language. Please, continue speaking. For the next hour, Marcus talked to the ship. He told about himself, about Earth, about humans. He asked questions, and slowly, the ship's responses became more complex and coherent. It identified itself as something called Keeper of Songs, an artificial intelligence from a species that had traveled to stars long ago. The ship explained that it had crashed in this desert approximately 50 years ago, badly damaged and trying to escape from something called the Harvesters. It had entered a deep hibernation mode, preserving its core functions while waiting for a voice that matched certain patterns, waiting for someone like Marcus. Why did you respond to my voice? Marcus asked. Your vocal frequencies match those of my former commander. The probability of this occurring randomly is less than 1 in 4 billion. You were meant to find me. Marcus felt a chill run down his spine, despite the desert heat. This couldn't be a coincidence. But before he could ask more questions, the ship's holographic display shifted to show a star chart. Red markers appeared on the display, moving slowly toward a blue that Marcus realized was Earth. What are those? He asked, though part of him already knew the answer. The Harvesters. They are coming. They have been watching your world. 3 months ago, your species activated something that drew their attention. They will arrive in 30 days. 30 days? What do they want? The ship's next words made Marcus's blood run cold. They consume civilizations. They take everything, your knowledge, your culture, your identity. 47 species have fallen to them. Earth will be the 48th, unless you help me stop them. Marcus looked at the glowing ship, then up at the sky, where somewhere beyond the blue, an alien threat was approaching. His quiet day of geological research had just become something far bigger than he could have ever imagined. And somehow, impossibly, he was the only person who could do anything about it. Marcus sat on a rock outside the ship, his head in his hands. 3 days had passed since he found the crashed vessel, and he still hadn't told anyone. How could he? Who would believe him? And even if they did, what would happen? The government would swoop in, take the ship, lock him away for questioning. They would waste precious time trying to understand the technology, while the harvesters got closer every day. "You are troubled," Keeper of Songs said through a small holographic projector Marcus now carried with him. "I can't do this alone," Marcus replied. "I'm just a geologist. I study rocks, not alien invasions. Earth needs armies, scientists, world leaders working on this. By the time your leaders finish debating and planning, it will be too late. The harvesters will be here in 27 days. I have seen it happen before. Committees and councils move slowly. We do not have that luxury." Marcus knew the AI was right, but the weight of responsibility felt crushing. He looked at his phone, staring at a contact he hadn't called in 2 years. His sister, Sarah. They had fought and stopped speaking after their father's funeral. She had wanted to sell the family home. He had wanted to keep it. Stupid, looking back on it now. But Sarah was a weapons engineer at DARPA, one of the smartest people he knew. If anyone could help him, it was her. He made the call. 2 days later, Sarah arrived at the canyon, her face skeptical and annoyed. "This better not be a waste of time, Marcus. I flew 6 hours to get here." "Just look," Marcus said, leading her to the ship. When Sarah saw the vessel and watched it respond to Marcus's voice, her skepticism vanished. She spent the next 4 hours asking Keeper of Songs technical questions, examining the ship systems, and taking readings with equipment she had brought. Finally, she looked at her brother with wide eyes. "This is real. This is actually real." "I know. And these harvester things are coming in less than a month?" "Yes." Sarah paced back and forth, thinking, Okay, show me what weapons this ship has. Show me what we can use." Keeper of Songs displayed blueprints and technical diagrams. The ship contained designs for defensive satellites, energy shields, and weapon systems far beyond human technology. But there was a problem. Most of the ship's main systems were too damaged to use directly. However, the AI explained, the blueprints can be adapted to your current technology. With the right facilities, you could manufacture simplified versions of these defenses. Sarah studied the designs carefully. "Some of this, I can work with this. We have prototype systems at DARPA that are similar in principle. If I can combine your technology with ours, we might be able to build something in time." "There's more," Keeper of Songs said. "The ship's primary weapon system is still functional. It is called the resonance grid, but it requires an operator whose neural patterns can synchronize with the ship's consciousness." "What does that mean?" Marcus asked. "It means you, Marcus Chun. Your voice activates the ship because your brain's patterns are compatible with our systems. You can control the resonance grid, but you must train. You must learn to think alongside the ship's combat intelligence." For the next 2 weeks, Marcus trained while Sarah worked on building the defensive satellites. Every day, Marcus would connect to the ship's systems, feeling the strange sensation of his thoughts merging with the alien AI. He saw flashes of memories that weren't his own. Battles in space, a warrior named Seraph giving commands, entire fleets moving in coordinated strikes. It was exhausting and terrifying. Sometimes Marcus felt like he was losing himself in the connection, but Keeper of Songs guided him patiently, teaching him how to maintain his identity while accessing the ship's knowledge. Sarah made progress too. Using a hidden facility she had access to, she managed to construct the first prototype satellite. It was smaller and less powerful than the original designs, but it worked. The problem was activation. The satellite needed Marcus's voice print to power on, just like the ship. "We need to get this into orbit," Sarah said, looking at the satellite. I have contacts who can help launch it quietly, no questions asked. But Marcus, once this goes up, people will start noticing. We won't be able to hide this much longer. Before they could discuss it further, Keeper of Songs interrupted with an urgent alert. I am detecting an anomaly. A harvester probe has entered your solar system. It is 15 days ahead of projected schedule. Marcus and Sarah looked at each other in alarm. It's scanning Earth, the AI continued, measuring your defenses, analyzing your technology. Within 72 hours, your world's governments will detect it. There will be panic, confusion. Your species will prepare for war, but they will prepare for the wrong kind of war. Then we tell them, Sarah said firmly. We tell them everything. Right now. Marcus nodded, his decision made. They had run out of time for secrets. The emergency meeting room was deep underground, hidden beneath a military base in Colorado. Marcus and Sarah sat at a long table facing 12 people, generals, scientists, and government officials from different countries. All of them looked tired and stressed. The harvester probe had been detected 2 days ago, and the world was on the edge of panic. General Patricia Voss, a stern woman with gray hair and sharp eyes, spoke first. Dr. Chun, your sister claims you have information about the alien object in our solar system. Information that could save lives. I suggest you start talking. Marcus took a deep breath and activated the holographic projector. Keeper of Songs appeared above the table, startling several people in the room. I am Keeper Songs, the AI said. I am from a species that died 12,000 years ago. The object you detected is a harvester scout probe. They are coming to consume your civilization. The room erupted in questions and protests. General Voss held up her hand for silence. Explain what you mean by consume. For the next hour, Keeper of Songs told him everything. The AI showed images and data from its database. 47 civilizations completely destroyed, their knowledge stolen, their cultures erased. The harvesters were not conquerors who wanted slaves or territory. They were collectors who absorbed everything unique about a species and moved on, leaving dead world behind. One of the scientists, a man from Japan, asked the obvious question. Why are they coming now? Why Earth? Your species has shown rapid technological growth in a very short time, Keeper of Songs explained. 3 months ago, you activated a deep space communications array. This technology crossed a threshold the harvesters have been monitoring. To them, you are now ripe for harvest. So we're being punished for advancing too quickly? Another official asked bitterly. You are being targeted because you show promise. The harvesters seek species with unique traits to add to their collection. General Voss leaned forward. And what makes you think we can fight them? You said 47 civilizations failed. Those civilizations fought alone, Keeper of Songs said. Most spacefaring species evolved past conflict before reaching the stars. They were peaceful, unprepared for true war. Humanity is different. You still carry your warrior instincts. You understand violence and survival in ways they did not. Sarah activated her tablet, showing the defensive satellite designs. We have a plan. My brother can interface with Architect technology. That's the species that built Keeper of Songs' ship. There are other Architect installations hidden in our solar system. If we can activate them, we can create a defense grid strong enough to fight back. Architect technology? General Voss asked. An ancient species that created weapons specifically designed to stop threats like the harvesters, Marcus explained. They built these weapons to respond to beings with certain vocal and neural patterns. For some reason, humans have those patterns. We can use their technology. A British official shook his head. This sounds insane. You're asking us to trust alien technology we don't understand, operated by one man. I'm asking you to trust the only chance we have, Marcus said firmly. In 18 days, the harvester fleet will arrive. They'll have hundreds of ships. Our current weapons won't even scratch them. Keeper of Songs displayed a simulation of what would happen if Earth tried to fight with conventional weapons. It was a massacre. Nuclear missiles, fighter jets, battleships. Everything humans had built was simply not enough. The room fell silent as they watched Earth's defenses crumble in the simulation. There are 3 architect installations in your solar system. The AI continued. 1 on Mars, 1 in an asteroid belt, and 1 on Europa, a moon of Jupiter. Each must be activated and connected to form a complete defense network. How long will this take? General Voss asked. If we leave immediately, we might activate all 3 with days to spare, Sarah said. But there's a complication. The installations require vocal authentication from multiple humans working together. My brother alone isn't enough. We need teams of people who can harmonize their voices with the architect frequencies. Harmonize? What does that mean? Marcus tried to explain. The architects designed their weapons to require cooperation. They wanted to make sure only species that could work together could access the most powerful defenses. Human voices, our languages, even our music, they all contain patterns the architects valued. A woman from the United Nations spoke up. So you're saying our diversity is an advantage? Exactly, Keeper of Songs affirmed. Your species has thousands of languages, countless songs and vocal traditions. This variety is rare in the galaxy. It makes you uniquely suited to operate architect systems. General Voss stood and walked to the window, thinking hard. Finally, she turned back to the room. I'll authorize the missions to Mars and Europa. We'll assemble teams immediately. But I want our military forces on full alert as backup. If this architect technology fails, we fight with everything we have. It won't be enough, Keeper of Songs warned. Then we'll die trying, the general said coldly. That's what humans do. The meeting ended with a flurry of activity. Teams were assembled, spacecraft prepared, and across the world, volunteers began training to add their voices to the defense network. Marcus watched it all unfold, feeling the weight of responsibility grow heavier. Sarah found him alone later that evening. You okay? No, Marcus admitted. What if I fail? What if my voice isn't enough? Then we all fail together, Sarah said, putting her hand on his shoulder. But I don't think that's going to happen. The harvesters have never faced humans before. They're about to learn why that's a mistake. In orbit above Earth, the Harvester probe finished its scans and sent a final message to the approaching fleet. The message was simple. Target confirmed. Resistance expected. Recommend full force deployment. The invasion had begun. The Mars installation rose from the red dust like a sleeping giant. Marcus stood before it, his breath fogging inside his helmet as the thin Martian atmosphere couldn't sustain human life. Behind him, a team of 6 specialists waited nervously. They had landed 30 minutes ago, and already Marcus could feel the weight of what they had to do. Keeper of Songs, I'm ready, Marcus said into his helmet communicator. Remember, the AI's voice responded, you must speak the activation sequence with absolute clarity. The installation has been dormant for millennia. It may not recognize you immediately. Marcus approached the massive metallic structure and began speaking the codes Keeper of Songs had taught him. Ancient words in a language that felt both foreign and familiar flowed from his lips. The installation began to glow, just as the ship had when he first found it. But something was wrong. The glow turned from blue to angry red. Panels on the installation's surface snapped open, revealing weapon ports that began charging with energy. It's attacking, one of the team members shouted. Marcus dug behind a rock as energy blasts tore through the Martian landscape. The installation's AI had awakened, but it was damaged, corrupted by thousands of years of neglect. It saw them as intruders, not allies. Marcus, you must override it. Keeper of Songs urged. Use the harmonic frequencies. I showed you. Sing to it. Sing? Marcus had never been a singer, but he remembered the training, the way certain emotional tones could communicate with architect systems. He closed his eyes, thought of Earth, of his sister, of everyone depending on him. Then he began to sing, not words, but pure sound that carried his determination and hope. The installation's attack slowed. The red glow flickered. Marcus continued, pouring everything he felt into the strange melody. Minutes passed like hours, but finally the installation's color shifted back to blue. The weapons powered down. Commander recognized. A voice boomed across the Martian plain. Awaiting orders. Marcus nearly collapsed with relief. The team cheered. But their celebration was cut short when alarms blared from their ship's sensors. "We've got incoming," the pilot shouted. "Harvester probe, entering Mars orbit now." Through his helmet, Marcus could see it, a dark shape descending through the pink Martian sky, trailing what looked like smaller objects. Drones. The harvesters had found them. "Activate the defense grid." Marcus commanded the installation. "Protect this position." The massive architect structure responded instantly. A shimmering dome of energy spread over the landing site, just as the first harvester drones opened fire. The shield held, but Marcus could see more drones deploying from the probe. Dozens of them, each one moving with frightening coordination. Everyone to cover. General Voss's voice crackled over the radio from Earth. "We're monitoring the situation. Use the installation's weapons." Marcus connected his mind to the installation systems, feeling the now familiar sensation emerging with alien technology. Suddenly, he could see the battlefield from multiple angles, sense the drones' movements, predict their attack patterns. The installation's weapons came online, and Marcus began directing them with thoughts alone. Energy beams lanced out from the installation, striking drones from the sky. But the harvesters adapted quickly. Each time Marcus destroyed one, the others learned from its death and changed their tactics. They were fighting an intelligent, learning enemy. "They're too coordinated," one of the specialists yelled. "We can't keep this up." Marcus remembered something Keeper of Songs had told him during training. Harvester AIs expected logical, predictable patterns. They struggle with chaos and creativity, things that came naturally to humans. "Everyone, give me your voices." Marcus shouted. "Sing, yell, make noise. Don't think about it, just do it." The team looked at him like he was crazy, but they did it. 6 humans began shouting and singing random words, different songs, different languages. Marcus channeled their chaotic vocal energy through the installation systems, making the defense grid behave in wild, unpredictable ways. The effect was immediate. The harvester drones began making mistakes, confused by the erratic patterns. The installation's weapons found their marks more easily. One by one, the drones fell from the sky. Finally, Marcus focused all the installation's power on the probe itself. A massive beam of energy erupted from the structure, punching through the probe's hull. The alien vessel broke apart, scattering debris across the Martian sky. Back on Earth, General Voss watched the battle footage with amazement. They actually did it. They beat Harvester technology. But Keeper of Songs delivered troubling news. The probe transmitted battle data before it was destroyed. The Harvester fleet now knows what you are capable of. They will send more forces, and they will be prepared. On Europa, Sarah successfully activated the second installation with her team of linguists and musicians. They had discovered that human singing and music could power the architect systems even better than speech alone. Volunteers around the world began training at special centers, learning to add their voices to what was being called the Resonance Network. Marcus activated the third installation in the asteroid belt 3 days later. All 3 installations came online together, forming a triangle of protection around Earth. Millions of humans across the planet connected their voices to the network, creating an unprecedented collaboration. But their preparation time had run out. The Harvester fleet arrived early, dropping out of faster-than-light travel at the edge of the solar system. There were hundreds of ships, and at their center was something massive. A vessel so large it eclipsed the sun. The cathedral ship, Keeper of Songs said quietly, "It has never been defeated. It carries the consciousness of every civilization the harvesters have consumed. If it reaches Earth, all is lost." Marcus stood at the Mars installation, feeling the voices of millions of humans flowing through him. He looked up at the stars where the harvester fleet advanced. "Then we'll be the first to defeat it," he said. The final battle for Earth was about to begin. The harvester fleet moved through space like a swarm of metal locusts. Marcus felt their approach through a connection to the 3 installations, each ship appearing as a cold, hostile point in his expanded awareness. But the cathedral ship dominated everything, a massive structure that seemed to pulse with stolen knowledge and consume souls. "Marcus, the installations are at full power." Sarah's voice came through from Europa. "The global network is stable. 8 million people are connected and ready. 8 million voices. Marcus could feel every single one of them. People from every continent, speaking every language, all united in one purpose. Their collective will flowed through him like electricity, waiting to be directed. The Harvester fleet engaged first, launching thousands of missiles toward Earth. Marcus activated the defense grid. The 3 installations created a web of energy barriers that intercepted the missiles, detonating them harmlessly in space. Cheers erupted across the global network. But the celebration was brief. The cathedral ship fired a weapon unlike anything they had seen, a beam that didn't just destroy matter, but seemed to unravel it at the quantum level. The beam struck the Mars installation, and Marcus screamed as he felt the structure beginning to break apart. The installation is destabilizing, Keeper of Songs warned. The cathedral ship's weapon is breaking down the quantum bonds that hold the architect technology together. Marcus struggled to maintain the connection, but he could feel the Mars installation dying. If it fell, the defense grid would collapse. The Europa and asteroid installations couldn't protect Earth alone. There is only one option, Keeper of Songs said quietly. The installations have a final protocol, a self-destruct sequence powerful enough to destroy the cathedral ship, but the operator must remain connected to guide it. Marcus, you would have to... No! Sarah's voice cut through. There has to be another way. Marcus felt the weight of the decision crushing him. He thought of everyone depending on him, everyone whose voices he carried. He began speaking the activation codes for the self-destruct sequence. Wait! Sarah shouted. I found something in the database. The architects didn't die. They transcended. They merged with their technology and waited for someone worthy to inherit it. Marcus, you don't have to die. You have to complete the merge. What does that mean? Marcus asked. His voice strained as he fought to hold the failing installation together. Let the technology in completely. Become one with it. You'll gain full control of the defense grid, but you'll never be fully human again. It's permanent, Marcus. There's no going back. Marcus hesitated. To give up his humanity, to become something else entirely. It terrified him. But then he felt the 8 million voices in the network, all counting on him. He remembered Keeper of Songs telling him about Seraph, the ship's former commander, who had valued preservation over destruction. Do it, Marcus said. Tell me how. Sarah guided him through the process. Marcus opened every barrier in his mind, allowing the architect systems to flood into his consciousness. The pain was incredible, like his brain was being rewritten. But alongside the pain came clarity. His awareness expanded impossibly, encompassing all 3 installations simultaneously. He could see in dimensions humans weren't meant to perceive. He understood the mathematical elegance of the Harvester attack patterns. He felt the cathedral ship's quantum signature. And through it all, he still felt his own heart beating, still remembered his sister's face, still carried the stubborn determination that made him human. He had become something new, a bridge between species. With his new abilities, Marcus rebuilt the defense grid into something adaptive and alive. The barriers shifted and changed in ways no Harvester AI could predict. The alien fleet began taking heavy losses, confused by the chaotic human creativity flowing through their defenses. But the cathedral ship pressed forward, absorbing the damage, pushing toward Earth with unstoppable momentum. Marcus focused his entire being on the massive vessel. He reached out with his transformed consciousness and spoke directly to it. To his shock, the cathedral ship responded, not with weapons, but with voices. Thousands of voices, speaking in languages long dead. They're prisoners, Marcus realized with horror. The civilizations are consumed. They're trapped inside. Sarah understood immediately. If we can free them, we can destroy the harvesters from within. Marcus projected his consciousness into the cathedral ship, experiencing the nightmare of 47 civilizations stripped of their freedom. Among them, he found the architects themselves, captured thousands of years ago when they thought they had transcended beyond the harvester's reach. Marcus spoke to them all, his human passion cutting through their despair. He showed them what humanity had done, not fighting alone, but joining millions of voices in harmony. He offered them what the harvesters never could. Freedom and hope. The response was immediate. The imprisoned consciousnesses rose in rebellion, attacking their captors from within. The cathedral ship began tearing itself apart as the digital uprising spread to the Harvester fleet's network mines. Marcus watched as the cathedral ship exploded in a brilliant flash. The Harvester fleet, their coordination shattered, broke formation, and scattered into the depths of space. Earth was saved. The freed consciousnesses flowed to the network one last time. The architects lingered, speaking with Marcus in his transformed state. "You succeeded where we failed," they said. "Your species has earned our legacy. Use it wisely." Then they faded, finally at peace. Marcus remained connected to the installations, existing simultaneously as human and something greater. It took time to adjust, to understand what he had become. Sarah stayed with him through every difficult moment, refusing to let him feel isolated. 5 years later, Marcus stood at the Mars installation, now a thriving research center. He watched as the first human architect hybrid ships launched, crewed by volunteers who had trained to work alongside the ancient technology. Sarah, now leading the Resonance Corps, joined him. "Do you regret it?" she asked quietly. Marcus listened to the voices of Earth. 8 billion people living their lives in peace because of what had been sacrificed. He smiled, a gesture that felt both human and something more. "I'm not less human," he said. "I'm more, because I carry humanity's voice wherever I go." In the distance, a new architect installation activated, this one built entirely by human hands. Keeper of Songs observed the achievement and said something it had learned from humans. "Hell yeah." Marcus laughed, a sound that harmonized perfectly with the hum of alien technology. Humanity had not just survived, they had become the galaxy's new guardians. And the stars would never be the same.